All right, let's talk about a muscle that's a total game changer for your physique. The trapezius. We spend a lot of time thinking about building a big chest, but if you want to look genuinely powerful, it really all starts with your back. So let's dive right in. And this quote, man, it just nails it. It's so easy to focus on the muscles we see in the mirror, right? The mirror muscles. But strong traps, that's what signals real functional strength. It's the foundation of that powerful look that just commands attention. So when you think trap training, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Shrugs, right? For most of us, it starts and ends right there. But honestly, that's kind of like trying to build a whole house by only working on the roof. We're about to show you why there's so much more to this muscle and why training it the right way is a game changer for everything. Your posture, your strength, your overall health. So, okay, what's actually in it for you? I mean, besides building that impressive athletic look that we all want, strong traps are basically your body's best defense against that slouchy posture. They stabilize your shoulders, which helps get rid of those nagging neck and shoulder pains. Oh, and if you're serious about lifting, you gotta listen to this. A strong trapezius means bigger numbers on your deadlifts, your rows, your presses. They're like the silent partner in all your biggest lifts. All right, the benefits are pretty clear, right? But here's the thing. To train them effectively, we have to understand what we're actually working with. So let's pull back the curtain a little bit and get into the anatomy of this incredible muscle. The first thing you gotta grasp is the shape. Just picture a massive diamond laid right across your upper back. It starts at the base of your skull, spreads out wide over your shoulders, and then comes to a point way down in your mid-back. So we're not talking about some small, isolated muscle here. This thing is a huge piece of muscular real estate. But is it really just one big muscle? That's the million-dollar question. And thinking of it that way, that's probably the single biggest mistake people make. The truth is, it's a little more complex than that. And understanding this complexity, well, that's the secret to unlocking its full potential. See, the trapezius is actually a three-part system. You've got the upper traps. Those are the ones everyone knows, the ones that give you that classic powerful look up by your neck. Then you've got the middle traps, kind of tucked in there between your shoulder blades. And finally, running down your spine, you have the often forgotten lower traps. And here's the kicker. Each one has a completely different job to do. So, 3 different parts. That must mean 3 different functions, right? Exactly. Let's break down how this whole system works, piece by piece, because this is where the real magic happens for your training. Okay, let's start at the top, with the celebrity of the group, the upper traps. When you see someone with that thick, powerful neck and shoulder line, that's what you're looking at. This is the muscle everyone immediately thinks of when they hear the word traps. On their main job, it's all about lifting the shoulders up. It's that simple. Anytime you shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, that classic shrugging motion, you're firing up those upper traps. All right, next up, let's move on to the often neglected middle child of the group, the middle traps. And let me tell you, these are absolutely vital for good posture and for building that real thickness in your back. So what do? Their main job is retraction. You know what? Try this with me right now. Just sit up straight and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Really pull them back like you're trying to pinch something between them. Feel that? That is your middle traps working hard. And finally, let's talk about the unsung hero of your entire upper body, the lower traps. Seriously, if you've ever had shoulder problems, there is a very good chance these muscles are being neglected. They are the absolute foundation of shoulder health. Their job is to pull your shoulder blades down. It's an action called depression. The best way to think about it is like an anchor for your shoulders. This is the muscle that keeps everything locked in and safe when you're pressing heavy weight, whether it's overhead or on a bench. Without strong lower traps, you're just asking for an injury. And here it all is, laid out perfectly. This is basically the master key. The upper traps pull up, the middle traps pull back, the lower traps pull down. Just remember that. Up, back, and down. Simple, right? Every single pulling motion you do is hitting one of these areas. This isn't just some boring anatomy lesson. This is your roadmap to a way stronger, healthier back. Okay, so we've gone through all the anatomy, but what does this all actually mean for you when you're in the gym? What's the one big idea you need to walk away with today? It all boils down to this, really. Shrugs? They only hit the very top of that diamond shape. So if that's all you're doing, you're flat out neglecting 2/3 of the muscle, the parts responsible for your posture and keeping your shoulders stable. To build a truly complete and powerful back, you have to think in 3 directions: up, back, and down. So the final question really is for you. Take a good look at your own workout plan. Are you just building the tip of the iceberg with endless shrugs? Or are you actually building the entire diamond? Because now you have the blueprint. The power to build a truly strong, balanced, and impressive back is literally in your hands.
All right, let's talk about back training. There is a huge, and I mean huge, mistake that so many people make. You see, if you want that powerful, kind of 3-dimensional back, you've probably just been told to do shrugs, right? But what if I told you that's only giving you like 1/3 of the results? Yeah, let's get into it.
So, let me just ask you this straight up. Are your trap workouts really, truly complete? You might be hitting the gym, going hard, but I am willing to bet you are not hitting the entire muscle. For most of us, the answer is a pretty surprising no.
And that right there is the big problem we are tackling. Most people hear traps and they immediately think shrugs, but that movement, it only works the upper third of this absolutely massive muscle. You are literally leaving 2/3 of your potential growth and strength just sitting there on the table.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to understand the anatomy of this so-called neglected diamond muscle. Then, we'll dive into specific exercises for the upper, middle, and, the lower traps. And to wrap it all up, I'm going to give you a super simple blueprint to put it all together. Sound good?
Okay, let's kick things off with the big aha moment. Seriously, understanding the true shape and the real function of your trapezius muscle, well, that's the absolute key to unlocking its full potential.
So here's the main thing you got to get. The trapezius isn't just those 2 little mountains sitting on top of your shoulders. No way. It's this massive, diamond-shaped sheet of muscle that covers your entire upper and mid-back. And believe me, its job is way more complex than just shrugging your shoulders up and down. And this breaks it down perfectly. Think of it in 3 parts. You've got the upper traps. Those are the visible peaks everybody chases. Then you have the middle traps, which pull your shoulder blades together and give you real thickness and good posture. And finally, the lower traps. These are the unsung heroes, crucial for shoulder stability and long-term health.
All right, let's start with the part everyone already knows and loves, the upper traps. But we're not just going to talk about mindlessly heaving weight around. No, we are going to focus on training them the right way for maximum effect. First up, the classic barbell shrug. Now, the real secret here is in that pro tip. Don't just bounce the weight. The magic, the real growth, happens when you control that movement and pause for a hard 1-second squeeze at the very top of every single rep.
Next, we've got dumbbell shrugs. Using dumbbells just allows for a more natural path for your arms. The key takeaway here, though, it's all about that slow, controlled lowering phase, the eccentric part. Fighting gravity on the way down, that's what really stimulates muscle growth.
Now, the Smith machine, it actually offers a really unique advantage. By taking a tiny step back and leaning just a little bit forward, you can get a much deeper stretch on the upper traps at the bottom, a stretch you just can't get with free weights, and that leads to a much stronger contraction. And for a killer variation, you have to try behind the back shrugs. This little switch in bar position shifts the focus to the back part of the upper traps. This is what helps build that dense, thick look from the side and the rear. It adds that real 3-dimensional quality we're after. Okay, now we are moving into the part that is almost always neglected, the middle traps. If you want a thick, powerful-looking back and that kind of confident, upright posture, then listen up, because this section is for you. Face pulls. Honestly, these should be a staple in absolutely everyone's routine. They're just phenomenal for your posture and your overall shoulder health. But that pro tip is critical. You have to pull the rope towards your forehead, not your chin, and really focus on keeping those elbows high and back. That's what isolates the mid-traps perfectly. For seated cable rows, it's a simple fix. Just switch to a wider grip bar. That little change shifts the focus away from your lats and right onto your middle back. The entire point of the exercise then becomes exactly what the tip says. Actively trying to pinch your shoulder blades together, like you're trying to hold a pencil back there. And of course, we have the classic mass builders, T-bar and barbell rows. These let you move some serious weight. But, and this is a big but, your form is absolutely non-negotiable. Like the slide says, your back has got to stay flat. That protects your spine and makes sure the right muscles are doing all the work. Now, if you're someone who struggles to keep their back flat, or maybe you tend to use a little too much body English, this is your new best friend.
chest-supported rows lock you into position. They completely remove your ability to cheat. This forces pure, honest isolation on those mid-back muscles.
Finally, let's talk about the foundation, the lower traps. This is without a doubt the most overlooked part of the entire muscle, but learning to activate them is the real secret to long-term shoulder health and rock-solid stability.
The Y raise is a very precise, very targeted movement. You'll be lying on an inclined bench using very, very light weight. Seriously, leave your ego out the door for this one. The key is all in the details, raising your arms into that Y shape with your thumbs pointing up to the ceiling. That specific angle is what nails those lower trap fibers.
This one isn't about reps at all. It's all about endurance. The prone cobra hold teaches you how to activate and hold tension through your entire backside. You're squeezing everything, your glutes, your back, your traps, building that stability and that all-important mind-muscle connection.
With the straight arm pull down, the goal is to feel the movement start deep in your back. You want to keep your arms almost totally straight and really focus on pulling your shoulder blades down first, initiating the pull using your lats and, crucially, your lower traps.
The reverse pec deck is another fantastic tool for isolation, but the #1 mistake people make here is they let their upper traps take over. They start shrugging, so your entire focus needs to be unconsciously keeping your shoulders down and back while you squeeze.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, the anatomy, a whole arsenal of exercises. So now for the best part. Let's put it all together into an incredibly simple and effective workout plan.
And the plan itself could not be easier to follow. You don't need to do all these exercises at once. Just pick one from each category, one for the upper, one for the middle, and one for the lower traps. Do that trio on your back day and you will finally be training the entire muscle for balanced, powerful development. It's that simple.
So, the only question left is, are you ready to stop training just 1/3 of a muscle and finally start building your back from top to bottom? Take this blueprint, put it into practice, and I promise you, you will see and feel the difference.
All right, let's talk about one of the most stubborn, frustrating muscle groups out there, the traps. If you feel like you've been putting in the work, but your traps have just hit a wall and refused to grow, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to get into the advanced techniques you need to finally smash through those plateaus. Sound familiar? You're shrugging, you're pulling, you're grinding it out in the gym, but every time you look in the mirror, nothing's changed. It's a super common sticking point, believe me. And the solution? It's probably not what you think. In this right here, this is the whole idea we're diving into. The secret to unlocking new trap growth isn't just about piling on more weight or doing a million reps. It's about a total shift in your mindset. It's about training with intelligence, using methods that make every single rep you do actually, well, count. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. We're going to build this new approach on 3 core pillars. I want you to think of these as the absolute non-negotiables for forcing your traps to finally wake up and grow. If you can master these 3 things, you're already way ahead of the curve. First up, the king of all muscle building principles, and you've heard it before, progressive overload. The concept is actually really simple. Your muscles are not going to grow unless you give them a reason to. You have to consistently challenge them with more stress than they're used to. This is, without a doubt, the foundation for breaking any plateau for any muscle. So, how do we actually do this for our traps? Number 1, you gotta increase the weight, but do it slow and steady week by week. Number 2, every single rep needs a powerful peak contraction at the very top. And number 3, and this is so crucial, you have to control the negative. Fight gravity on the way down for a full 3, maybe even 4 seconds. That lowering part of the movement, that's where so much growth is hiding. Our second pillar is something called time under tension, or TUT for short. Now, this is all about increasing how long the muscle is actually working during an exercise. Instead of just ripping through your reps, we're going to make that muscle stay under load for a lot longer each set. This creates a massive stimulus for new growth. And you know what? It's so simple to apply. The next time you do shrugs, I want you to hold that peak contraction. I mean, shoulders trying to touch your ears for a solid 2 to 3 seconds. Squeeze everything. Then, just like we said, lower the weight slowly. This one little change is going to create a burn you have never felt before in your traps. I promise. And our third pillar is the stretch and squeeze method. This is all about turning every single repetition into a masterpiece of muscle contraction. We're going to focus on moving that weight through its absolute fullest range of motion. Why? To wake up and recruit the maximum number of muscle fibers possible. We're done with half reps. So let's walk through that perfect rep. First, at the bottom of the movement, let the weight really pull your shoulders down. Get a deep, deep stretch in the traps. Second, explode up. Drive the weight with power. And third, at the very top, squeeze like you're trying to pinch a pencil between your shoulder blades. So stretch, explode, squeeze. That's your new mantra. Okay, so you've mastered the fundamentals of the perfect rep. Awesome. Now let's pour some gasoline on the fire and amplify that intensity. We can do that with supersets. They are an incredible tool for hitting different parts of the trap muscle back to back for, you guessed it, maximum overload. Here are a couple of my favorites. For killer upper and middle trap combo, go straight from a set of heavy shrugs into a set of face pulls, no rest. Or, if you want to target those often forgotten middle and lower traps, try supersetting a powerful barbell row with a nice controlled Y raise. This is how you build a truly complete three-dimensional back. Now, it's great to apply all these cool techniques, but listen, it can all be for nothing if you're making a few common mistakes. So let's talk about the hidden saboteurs, the growth-killing habits you have got to avoid. First on the list, and you see this all the time, rolling the shoulders during shrugs. It's just not an efficient movement. It does nothing extra for your traps, and honestly, it can put some unnecessary stress on your shoulder joint. The path of the weight should be a straight line. Pull straight up and lower it straight down. That's it. Yes, the classic ego lift. Look, piling on so much weight that you're just heaving and using momentum to move it, that's a one-way ticket to zero progress. You have to drop the ego, lighten the weight, and focus on controlled movement where you can actually feel the muscle doing the work. Better stimulation with less weight will always, always beat sloppy reps with heavy weight. And this is a massive one. So many people think the traps are just that muscle on top of your shoulders that you shrug with. No way. The traps are a huge, diamond-shaped muscle group. If you're only doing shrugs, you are completely ignoring the middle and lower portions, which are absolutely essential for building that thick, powerful-looking back. Okay. Okay, we have covered the techniques, the intensity amplifiers, and the big mistakes to avoid. Now let's put it all together into a simple, actionable blueprint you can take to the gym. Here's the game plan. It's this simple. First, know your anatomy, all three parts of the traps. Second, pick exercises that hit every single one of those sections. Third, relentlessly, week in and week out, apply progressive overload. And finally, master the techniques we talked about, time under tension and the stretch and squeeze method. That's the path forward. And I want to leave you with this idea, so let it sink in for a second. Growth isn't random. It doesn't happen by accident. It's earned. It requires intent. You have to be smart. You have to be willing to go heavy, with good form, of course. And maybe most important of all, you have to be consistent. So the only question left is, are you ready to actually apply all this? Are you ready to stop just training hard and finally start training smart? Now go put this blueprint to work and go build the traps you've been fighting for.